So the left tried to replace the 4th of July, our Independence Day, with a new Independence Day called Juneteenth. They did this under Biden. The original Independence Day was to commemorate the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the beginning of the American Revolution and this country that was founded on the recognition that God has endowed us with certain natural rights and an appeal to heaven and all the rest of it. Then the new Independence Day that the libs tried to foist on us 4 years ago says, actually, America's really racist and evil, and we've never really gotten over our original sin of slavery, and we need to get rid of all the stuff from the past so that black people can finally be free. And when black people are really just being used as an instrument for a broader narrative of the liberation from oppression, a kind of radical liberal leftist narrative. Well, good news on that front. At least one Juneteenth celebration is fallen by the wayside. Indianapolis has canceled Juneteenth. Indianapolis will not hold its Juneteenth Parade. I don't know how many times it has held a Juneteenth Parade, but it's not going to hold it this year because of scheduling conflicts and other events in the city and just logistics. And I don't think that's why Juneteenth is a little more muted this year, not just in Indianapolis, but around the country. Juneteenth, the libs tell us, was to celebrate the emancipation of the black slaves. That isn't true. That's literally not what it celebrates. It celebrates the day that a mailman finally arrived in Texas after the Emancipation Proclamation, but before the 13th Amendment, either of which events could plausibly be pointed to as the day of emancipation, but it's neither of those. It's just a mailman got to Texas, pretty much. And Juneteenth, or a celebration of emancipation, actually could not take place, according to the left's ideology, on the day of the Emancipation Proclamation, because then you would be saying that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and we're not allowed to say that anymore. The left will actually say Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves. And the slaves freed themselves. It can't be that white man, that white savior who came in and freed the slaves. It wasn't him. Forget about Lincoln. Likewise, for the same reason, you couldn't point to the 13th Amendment, which actually freed the slaves. It has to be this contrived thing. In a world that constantly challenges our beliefs, now is the time to stand tall and boldly proclaim the truth. This is your moment, your opportunity to come together with top leaders from education, faith, media, and culture who are committed to making a difference. Our high-profile featured speakers include Matt Walsh, Harrison Butker, Kirk Cameron, Father Mike Schmitz, and yours truly. And we will endeavor to share powerful stories and insights on how to rise above fear and take a stand for the truth, no matter the cost. You will be empowered to fearlessly stand up for your values and beliefs, knowing that you are called for such a time as this. It's going to be a great night filled with VIP parties, photo ops, meet and greets, and a call to action that will leave you inspired. This is more than an event. It's a call to action. Together, we will ignite the courage needed to transform our culture and bring light into the darkness. All proceeds benefit furthering the mission of Courage Under Fire and Regina Celli Academy to change our culture through education, arts, law, and the pro-life cause. Regina Celli Academy is the largest and only nationally accredited classical homeschool hybrid with 23 locations and counting across the country. To learn more about Regina Celli Academy and the gala, head over to courageunderfiregala.org. That is courageunderfiregala.org. Use code IGNITE10 to receive 10% off your ticket today. That's IGNITE10, the number 10, not the word 10. Hurry! Tickets are selling fast. Juneteenth actually began not to celebrate black people and not to celebrate freedom and Juneteenth took off in earnest in the United States as an offshoot of the BLM movement. That's what it's about. BLM, which was not founded by American patriots, BLM was run by radical Marxists and self-described Marxists. I'm not reading into their psyches. That's just what they say they are. Juneteenth started to catch some steam in the 2010s as the BLM movement was growing. Don't forget, the BLM movement didn't start with George Floyd. BLM movement started with Trayvon Martin and who was the one? Michael Brown. All of these hoaxes where racial hucksters came out and said that poor innocent Black children were being murdered execution style by racist white KKK members. And then we found out, actually, in the case of Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman was a Hispanic guy. So then the liberal media tried to rewrite it. They said, well, he's a white Hispanic. I don't know what it was, a white Hispanic now. Well, don't ignore that he's Hispanic. He's a white guy. And then actually the guy had bruises all over his head because Trayvon Martin was pummeling his head against the ground. And anyway, so that was that one. And then with Michael Brown, that was even more preposterous because Michael Brown had just robbed a store and then was threatening a cop, grabbed the cop's gun, discharged the weapon. The cop still let the guy go away. And then he started charging at the cop. Then and only then did the cop shoot him. All of these hoax narratives took off. It reached its apotheosis during George Floyd, which was also completely misrepresented in the media. That was the BLM movement. And it is no coincidence that BLM really started to gain some national traction in 2017, 2018. This is in the years following the Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown incidents. And then it was declared a national Independence Day. When I say the purpose of Juneteenth was to replace Independence Day, the 4th of July, that's my evidence, is that when Joe Biden signed it into law, he called it the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act. So now we have 2 Independence Days? No, clearly this new one is supposed to replace the old one. That was in 2021. This is very recent. It has nothing to do with true freedom. It has nothing to do with any true dignity of Black people. This is a radically leftist feast day for a radical liberal liturgical calendar. And it's falling by the wayside. And it's very good that it's falling by the wayside. And it's actually predictable that it's falling by the wayside. Juneteenth lived by BLM. It will very possibly die by BLM. As BLM diminishes in people's estimation, as we begin to reevaluate that period, 2020, 2021, the riots, the looting, the murders, the horror that the left inflicted on us after the George Floyd incident, as that diminishes in people's estimation, so too will Juneteenth. So too will the groups that promote Juneteenth, namely the BLM groups and the anarchist groups and the Marxist groups. No surprise here. It's a return to normal. When you have a record number of Black guys voting for the Republican, as happened in 2024 in the election for Trump, you realize there's been a shift in the racial narrative. Really good news. I hope you liked that clip. I certainly did, and I want you to watch The Michael Knowles Show. I want you to subscribe to The Michael Knowles YouTube channel, and I want you to follow me on X and Facebook and MySpace for that matter. Start by ringing the bell. I'll see you next time.